Y'all, today has been a rough day. It's 11:05 right now. I'm going to pick up my kids in about 5 minutes from lunch, but I just gotta have a little something. It's been rough. Day started out crazy, and it started at like 7 o'clock this morning. By the time I got to work this morning and made it to my classroom, a few steps before my classroom, I was just like, oh. And so my coworker steps out. She's like, is everything okay? Sorry if you didn't see my cookie, but I need something. She steps out and she's like, is everything okay? And I was like, I don't have my key. At the last minute this morning, I had to switch cars with my husband, and my classroom key is on the keep train that he had because my back tire was going flat. My son was supposed to come to school today. He ended up he came, but they called me downstairs while I was teaching reading, and they were like, his eye just, it was fine this morning, but I wiped it and it just looks really, really pink. He had pink eye last week, so I have to call my husband. He came to get him, to take him to his dad's house. This morning, I was trying to take my hair out before work, do a twist out, like the style that I have it in now. And what made me think I could take all this hair out in 10 minutes, I don't know. I don't know what made me think that, but it has just been a day. And so like by the time I got to work this morning, I had already had it and I had not even made it into my classroom yet. And so this past Sunday, my pastor taught on, let me check the time because I got to pick up my kids in 2 minutes. My pastor taught on basically the joy of the Lord and choosing joy. And so on the way to work this morning, I was just spiraling into this negative thought whole situation because not only like these little things, but I've just had kind of a lot going on lately. And so I had to speak to myself. Like I had to pull on some scriptures that I have committed to my memory, that are in my heart. And I was just like, you know what? This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and I will be glad in it. Like I am going to choose joy today. Although it's been like just little things happening, I'm going to choose joy. So my day is getting better. And my coworkers, I have the best coworkers. They were like, you know what? Like just take a moment. We'll pick up your kids for you this morning. Like it's gonna be okay. And because I was literally about to be in tears when I got to the classroom and saw like, oh my gosh, one more thing. I don't even have my key. How am I gonna get in here? And today's early release. So students are gonna leave at, is it time yet? 11:09, I have 1 minute. Students are gonna leave at 2:30 instead of 3 today. So we'll have our faculty meeting. I don't know, different Wednesdays of the month, we have different things planned, but I don't remember which one it is this week, but it's gonna get better. It's the end of the day and let's talk about it. Today has been a roller coaster Wednesday, literally, because we made a roller coaster today in science. After I got my kids from lunch, we started making our roller coaster for science, which we should have done last week. And so like things just kept coming up. It kept getting pushed off. And so I was like, you know what? We were supposed to actually start working on it yesterday. We got started on it yesterday, but barely. So we ran out of time and I was like, you know what, guys, tomorrow I'll let us go off schedule. We'll work on the roller coaster after lunch, which we did today. So we missed our phonics and language and our Bible lesson today because I was like, we just have got to get this roller coaster done, and I need more grades for science. The quarter ends tomorrow, so like I knew we had to get it done today, and if I waited to the very end of the day, which is when science normally is, might not have gotten done. So the kids had so much fun working on it. We were talking about the forces and how it needed more momentum, and like there were weak spots where the marble kept falling off of the roller coaster.
Go!
Oh! And so they were like, it needs more support.
This was higher. We got to put something under the rocking chair.
And they were just really having a good time, like experimenting with and figuring out how to make it work so that the marble would go from the beginning of the roller coaster all the way to the end and land in the cup. So after a really long time, we were getting much closer, but it still wasn't working. And I was like, guys, we just have to move on. We cannot spend any more time on this roller coaster. So I passed out their worksheets to them, and let me cover up the name, but this is what it looked like. So they had to draw the roller coaster and then label the forces that made it go through the roller coaster, label the slow down and the speed up areas. So they have here is like where it was speeding up and then it would slow down. Here has slowed down a lot in the loop. Right here, we propped it up on a bin that we use for the lunch boxes, and then I have a pen box that we propped up at the very end of it, or the other end. And they also had to tell what forces made the marble move. So he said the force that makes the marble, I think he means move. The force that makes the marble move is that a hand pushes it, and then they had to record their conclusions about how the marble moves through the roller coaster. So I learned that a successful roller coaster needs good supports. Someone else said we made the marble move by pushing it, and it was successful because it made it to the end that's in a cup. They had so much fun with this. They were so engaged, and they were asking me, they were like, can you please put this on the bulletin board outside? Like, this is really good work for our bulletin board. So I'm glad that they enjoyed this activity and that everyone was just really engaged with it. When I gave them their papers, like, we still were having issues with the roller coaster. So while they were working on their papers, I was tweaking it just a little bit and finally got the marble to land in the cup. We started our math lesson this afternoon, which was, my desk is really a mess right now. Here's our math lesson: writing a fraction to show part of a set and then picturing a fractional part of a set. So this is the worksheet we did together. We did side A together, and of course before we did the worksheet, like, I went over the lesson and modeled for them writing the fractions to match the whatever the picture was or whatever the set was. And this is not our very first time with fractions, so they picked this one up really quickly. We did side A together, and then side B, I gave them, each student got a cup of tiles, just a little cup like this, and so they were able to do this side on their own. Some of them didn't finish though. Like, we were working on this right up until the very last minute, and so we stopped at around 2:40 because we usually like pack up. My timer on my phone goes off at around 2:44, I think, or 2:45 for students to like start filling out their planners, and my timer hadn't gone off yet, so it was 2:40 when we stopped. And that's because my principal came in and reminded me that it was early release so we really should have been downstairs at 2:20. When I say it was a roller coaster of a day, like, it really has been. So by the time we got downstairs, everyone was already coming back up for the students who go to extended day. And there were some parents who probably had been waiting downstairs a really long time, but I thought we actually had 5 more minutes to work when in fact we should have been downstairs 20 minutes prior. And I saw like some of the other classes like leaving out. Like, I heard them leaving, but I thought they were just going outside like for an extra recess. Probably should have inquired further so I could be reminded that today was early release, but that's okay. So yeah, not everyone finished this. So I'm gonna put the people who didn't finish, I'm gonna put it on their desks so that when they come in the morning, they can work on it before the bell rings for their morning work. So I gotta go through these and see who finished and who didn't. And then during our meeting after school today, I'm so glad it was just short, sweet, quick, to the point, because I have to get out of here. My husband came when he had to come pick our son up and take him to his dad's house. We switched cars, so I had to go take my car to get the back tire fixed. I'm gonna go to Walmart and do that. It's a little after 3:30 now, 3:35. Friday is a planning day, and I found out that the K-2 teachers will probably be done by around 11-ish. And we were instructed to not stay past 3 o'clock, maybe even 2 o'clock on Friday. So it's going to be nice to get a little bit of extra rest. I'm so glad that I am teaching where I am though, because I have some of the best teammates. This morning, like when I came in and I realized that I didn't have my key and I just kind of lost it, my teammates stepped up and they're like, do what you need to do, take a moment, we'll pick your kids up for you. And so I had to give them a little shout out during our early release meeting and just let them know how grateful I am. While I was driving on the way to work this morning too, I was just having to on purpose choose joy, and I just started thanking God for so many things. Like, thank you God that I have a job to go to, thank you for my students, thank you that even though like one of our cars has a flat tire, we still are able to drive them both. And like when the squeeze is on and it just seems like everything is going wrong, it's important to on purpose just set my mind on everything that I have been blessed with and the things that I can be grateful for. And so that's what I had to do, and that's what I'm gonna have to continue to do, because it's just that time of the school year where it's like people are tired, students are getting a little squirrely, and just even in your personal life, like things can be going on. And when you just put all that together, like it can be the perfect storm of complaining or just ungratefulness. And just want to encourage you to on purpose choose joy.